What's up, guys? This is Boondocks, and today's the 3-year anniversary for Warframe, and with it came a couple new gifts for all the PC Tenno. If you're a console Tenno, don't worry, you will get them. It's just going to have to wait until the next update. With that being said, the nice thing about all three of the gifts that they gave you, they're going to have both a weapon slot for free, plus a catalyst already installed. And since this is going to fill out both your primary, secondary, and your melee, if you're a new Tenno, this is going to make it so that you can progress really quickly into higher difficulty areas. So for starters, we're going to have the Dex Sabaris. This sucker is a really nice rifle with good accuracy and a decent fire rate. Also, it reloads pretty damn quick too. As far as your secondary is concerned, you have the oldie but a goodie Dex Furus. And this fucker just throws out a shit ton of bullets very quickly. The one issue, however, is your total ammo supply is starting 310 rounds. So that means you get to fire an entire clip 3 times, plus only 10 rounds unless you pick up extra ammo. And because of that, you have to be a little bit careful with it just trying to nuke down enemies. Finally, we're going to have the Dex Dakra. Now this weapon is horrible as far as what most people would consider the meta builds, which are typically crit melee weapons. But if you're looking for a nice status weapon, these things are really nice. Not to mention the slash damage on them base is pretty damn astounding. Coupled with the fact that just recently a bunch of slash mods flooded the market, you could probably pick up a buzzkill if you weren't able to get one from Baro Katir. You could probably buy one from a player for much cheaper than it used to be. So for starters, let's look at the Dex Sabaris. This thing is nasty with a 35% crit chance and then a 2.0 multiplier. While the crit chance isn't as good as the Dread, that multiplier is still pretty damn nice. And because of that, this weapon is going to be amazing for crit. Now, as you can see with their primary damage types, there's no like one major benefit, and because of that, I wouldn't recommend modding for like piercing caliber or anything like that, or any type of impact, whatever, because you're not going to get the full benefit. Instead, just focus on the crit and probably toss on just your standard elemental mods. Now again, because I don't have this formatted, it's not going to be perfect, but as you can see here, this thing's kind of ridiculous with Serration and Split Chamber for your just general damage upgrade, and then I'm going to mod it for crit, using Point Strike for the crit chance and Vital Senses for the damage, bringing it up to a 4.4 multiplier. Now, as you can see, with Point Strike on there, I'm at 87.5% crit chance, which is already nice. And if I were to put on a critical delay, which in all honesty doesn't hurt your fire rate all that bad, that's going to bring you to 100% crit chance with a 4% chance of getting red crits. I'm just going to be using the Argon Scope because getting a headshot with this thing is really easy thanks to its accuracy, and then that's going to guarantee me red crits afterwards. One alternative though, or once you use some Forma, toss on a Hammer Shot to bring your multiplier up to a 5.6. And that would be very nice, and I'm kind of sad that I haven't formed it yet, and I can't wait to. As far as the Dex Furus is concerned, this thing doesn't have the best stats overall. I kind of already mentioned some of them, and that's the fact that the magazine and fire rate is pretty damn high. And because it doesn't fire out 2 bullets at once like the Twin Grakata, you're not going to burn through your ammo quite as badly. And this sucker is going to reload in 2 seconds compared to the Grakata's 3 seconds. With that being said, Twin Grakata with the crit chance makes it a little bit stronger. However, I feel like this weapon's still pretty nice. And even with such a low status chance, because you're going to be firing and hitting enemies so quick, the chances of proccing your status are extremely high. Because of that, I'm going to use the standard big 3 of Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, and Lethal Torrent. And then Convulsion and Pathogen rounds for my Corrosive with Jolt, just to increase my electric damage a little bit more, as well as that status chance. And with a 20% status chance alone, firing the sucker off, I'm almost guaranteed to get that shit going. Finally, what I would definitely recommend, since this thing is a bullet hose and you're going to run out of ammo if you're not careful, bring a pistol ammo mutation, or if you have one, an eject magazine. This thing is pretty interesting the way it works, and it takes some getting used to, but once you figure it out, eject magazine is broken as all hell. Finally, the Dex Dakra. This thing is going to be pretty damn nice as well. I accidentally clicked off. The one issue I have is its starting crit. At 10%, this is going to pull you out of the standard meta crit setup that most people are going for, and kind of detract you from wanting to use Berserker. You can, of course, make up for the bad crit chance with the Blood Rush combo, maybe with body count, but I personally just shied away from that and instead focused on having this nice 20% starting status. With that, I'm going to use Swirling Tiger because, for one, it's what comes preset with Polarity, and two, I actually like this more than the shitty fucking Crossing Snakes. I hate both the dual sword stances, though, and because of that, I'm already a little sad about the Dex Dakras. But I am going to do the Fever Strike, Shocking Touch, and then try to boost my status chance as much as possible using Virulent Scourge and Voltaic Strike. If you don't have Voltaic Strike, feel free to toss on another dual mod, such as Vicious Frost, or whatever the hell, Volcanic Edge. Yeah, that's the one. So you can use those. The one thing I do want to point out, though, is if you look at the starting slash damage, it's pretty damn high, especially in comparison to the rest of your stats on this weapon for impact and puncture. Because of that, I'm going to toss on both a Jagged Edge and a Buzzkill, bringing my slash damage up to a ridiculously high level, making this amazingly good against fleshy targets. Then, of course, Point Strike because it's melee. Why wouldn't you bring that? Then Fury to bring my attack speed up to 1.15, which is definitely pretty nice. And while it's no maxed out Berserker, the fact that this weapon's so poor for crit at the beginning, I would just use Fury. That's my personal opinion. Go any way you want. So, real quick, let me spawn some level 50 Corrupted Heavy Gunners with each individual weapon and kind of talk about them as we go. So for starters, let's use the Dex Sabaris and show how powerful this fucking thing could be. So while he's running at me, I get a nice headshot, and now that he's got the headshot on him, I'm getting red crits for days, and he's just getting torn up. Now, because he turned around, I wasn't able to get as many headshots as I would like against him, but as you can see, that weapon's going to tear them apart pretty quickly. In addition to that, the Dex Furus, while not as strong per shot, the fact that you're going to fire out so many fucking rounds so quickly makes this thing real devastating. So, as you can see, as long as you're in medium to close range, it's going to tear them apart. If you could notice there, when I started firing on him, he turned green really quick, which meant I got my status off. Finally, for the Dex Dakra, while this weapon isn't nearly as good as the other two, in my personal opinion, this thing still is going to attack really fast, get your status chance off, dropping their armor, and then just allowing you to cut them apart. And because of that, you're very fun, and all three of these weapons are going to be excellent if you're a new player. As you can see, with just a couple mods on there, to be fair, Argon Scope is pretty difficult to come by, as well as Buzzkill, though much cheaper nowadays. These weapons were able to do a considerable amount of damage against level 50s with 0 Forma. I spent 0 getting them or putting a Catalyst on. And because of that, this is an amazing time to be a new player, as this will propel you to completing much higher difficulty areas than what you currently were doing before, if you didn't have any more power weapons. So, until next time, guys, like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.